Welcome, everyone. Today I have a special guest with me, Benedetto Biondi, CEO at Fox Finance. Welcome to the show, Ben.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's a pleasure to hear a foreigner spelling my name in a proper way. It's not usual.
Yeah, I've worked with Benedetto in the past, so I kind of got used to pronouncing this. And
more unusual that you know two Benedettos. It's not a common thing, but yeah, glad to hear that.
Yeah, I'm very, very happy to have you here in the show. And obviously, Fox Finance, you are CEO of Fox Finance. I've been covering Fox Finance on the channel many times. So very grateful to have you. We'll be talking, various things, probably DeFi. I know you are wearing many hats, so we'll see how the discussion goes. I know you're a great mentor at Algorand Accelerate. But before we actually go into that, maybe a bit of your history, maybe a bit of your experience prior crypto, how you actually found your ways to crypto. Let's start with that, Ben.
Yeah, so I'm Italian. Let's give also a bit of personal interest here. Actually, from south of Italy, from Calabria. I have been grown up in the south. Went to Milan for studying. I studied at Politecnico of Milano, mechanical engineering. Then I started to work as a mechanical designer. I didn't like it very much. I always felt that I wanted to be more involved into a leader side, management side. So I done then a master in management engineering and innovation in Cardiff. That's where I had, let's say, a first meeting with blockchain, because there was innovative IT courses, and there was big data, blockchain, IoT, and it got my interest. After the master, I started to work for Blockchain Italia, which is the largest software house for blockchain development in Italy. And at Blockchain Italia was a project manager, so I started to see different application of the blockchain between traceability, supply chain, notarization, and the software house became partner of Algorand. So we started to work with the chain, and when we saw DeFi growing, we were like, okay, we can jump into that. And so from a personal side, when I started to work in DeFi, it got strongly my interest. I really like the mission that we have as an industry, right, to build the new infrastructure, the new financial infrastructure under the DeFi pillars, and it was just taking my passion very strongly. I've not really been a trader. Yes, I've done some investments, I've played with it, but it fascinates me more the technology itself than the trading part. Yes, I like it. I do like to play with it, but I'm not an expert trader, if I must say that. Besides work, my passions are the ocean, the sea. I do free diving, I do spearfishing. I live in Malta, so the water is all over me, and I love cooking as well, as a good Italian.
Okay, yeah, perfect. And I think it's important, like, that we also stay close to nature, like either ocean, swimming. I'm a runner, because just focusing on technology, you can go right with that. So
it's really crucial, because I believe that technology it's important for humans to evolve and to make a better society, improve the the well-being of humankind, but we came from nature and we always need to have a point of connection there, because when we lose it, then disasters happen. So better always to have a let's say a wild side in us. Actually, it's interesting. I was on a trip with a few other crypto founders, and we was on the boat, and I could go spearfishing and catch fish and cook it. And one of the guests of the boat said to me, "It's incredible how you can be such a tech guy and doing so many things, but also you have a very wild side that allow you to just jump in the water and catch the dinner and cook it. So kind of survival skills."
Yeah, excellent. And I think it's a great combination. It actually gives this perspective, kind of broader perspective on life. So happy that you kind of have those two as well. So Fox Finance, by the way, before I actually forget about this, we are organizing Algosphere event in Wrocław. It's 2nd of September. Benedetto will be there as well, so there will be a chance to meet him in person, talk Fox Finance, talk fishing, cooking, or anything you wish. So I will be actually doing more in-depth dive into the agenda of this event in the future, but just not to forget, we'll have Ben there as well. So happy that you accepted the invitation.
Of
Ben,
course, my pleasure,
Wrocław.
and thanks for inviting me. It's always for me a pleasure to meet community and show that behind the protocols, dApps, there is also humans with feelings, and it's nice to interact.
Yeah, for sure. And let's talk a bit, maybe the technology side, the DeFi side. Fox Finance is obviously the largest DeFi protocol built on Algorand right now. And I'm using this personally. I like the solution. I think it's kind of, from a UX perspective, it's really cool. Let's maybe explain to people who are kind of new to this space or less experienced with DeFi. So in simple terms, so that like my mother can understand it. What is DeFi actually? How do you understand it?
Yeah, so very simply, DeFi it's financial services that are powered by blockchain technology. Why it is DeFi and decentralized finance? It is because in any other system, such as traditional finance, such as banks, you have central authorities that have control over the systems. In decentralized finance, as the name says, this is decentralized, so you don't have a central authority deciding. A very key point to highlight is that in most of the case, when we are talking about centralized services, centralized finance, when there is a yield, it's because someone else is doing something with your funds. Whether in DeFi, the yields that is given on a deposit, it is connected directly to automated processes that are done through smart contracts. So everyone is actually able to go and see where this yield is coming from. Usually it's clearly written in the documentation. For example, in Fox Finance, in the lending part, it's because you are lending your money to someone else that is borrowing it. So in those simple words, like decentralized finance is financial infrastructure that is building tools for a new financial system, which is trustless, permissionless, and decentralized, and transparent, yes, of course.
Okay, thank you. I think it's a good explanation. And I think like this transparency, which you've mentioned, is crucial in like financial industry these days. And obviously this decentralization and the fact that it's permissionless, it's trustless, you don't need to trust anyone, but actually in the middle, instead of like all these institutions, all these banks, we have a smart contracts, right? So for a regular person, like who maybe is thinking about using DeFi, okay, you don't need to trust anyone, but do I need to trust like smart contracts? what is that? I mean, I think some people will just bump from this idea of there's a smart contract and I need to trust smart contracts. How do you think we can like attract more kind of mainstream users, avoiding this explanation of smart contract in the middle? I think for most people, they will never understand what smart contracts is. I'm not sure if you agree.
Yeah, I agree also, because the name itself is confusing. A smart contract is nothing smart, honestly. It's just code. It's lines of code that is deployed on chain, and it has inputs and it has output. The main difference here is that once a smart contract is deployed, let's say it's lines of code, so an algorithm, a software that is deployed on chain, so it will be running forever for the way it is deployed. So if I write a smart contract that is 2 lines of code that says every week send 10 out from Benedetto wallet to Andrzej wallet, this smart contract will do forever this operation. So every week we'll just send it this, because by running on chain, no one else can change it. I mean, unless it's planned to do that. But the code is written in this way and will always do this way. Also, the important part is that a smart contract being on chain, then it means that is readable by everyone. Everyone can just open an explorer and read the code. So that is a very important part of why we need to trust the smart contract. It is, even if I'm not a developer, I can rely on developers that, since it's an open community, can go on chain and read the actual code of the contract. So this is very powerful because, as we said, it removes the need to rely and trust on a central authority. So you are trusting on code that is being peer reviewed by an open community, and therefore you don't need actually trust. You are just using this code. You know that this code is built for doing A, and will always do A for all the time being. So that's why it's a powerful technology, and that's why it's perfectly suitable for finance, because written obviously in a proper way, codes on smart contract can be perfect for transferring assets and for doing a financial operation.
Yeah, that's right. So I think the transparency, which we have mentioned already, not only in the context of transactions which are happening, but also in the context of smart contracts, that anybody can audit that. We know how it works. It is a powerful tool. We don't have this visibility like for the current, let's say, financial infrastructure. So I think it's the power of DeFi. And obviously, Fox Finance is like a powerful hub for different DeFi tools. I think lending is your core, at least that's how I understand it. So before actually going to lending in more details, maybe you can give an overview, Benedetto, like of the main functionalities of Fox Finance as a platform.
Yeah. So I'll do it by also giving a little bit of history about the app itself. So when we started, we decided to build DeFi on Algorand. We have done due diligence, and we saw that there was, for example, TinyMan being built. So the first milestone for a DeFi ecosystem is having a decentralized exchange. So this was already being done. So we were like, okay, why not going for something else? So as soon as you have the ability to swap assets, then the users like to have the opportunity to use assets as a collateral and borrow against that. So that's why we decided to build the lending. And I said we came from a software house. So as in compared to other projects, most of the projects, they have a big lack usually of developers. For us, that wasn't the case, as that was our strongest point. So we kept improving the product and adding feature. second feature that we added was the algo liquid governance. This was very simply, we saw a need in the ecosystem for those who are not familiar with the Algorand governance. In order to participate to this decentralized voting system, you need to commit your algo. Your algo must be staying in your wallet and you can't use it. And this is inefficient. So we saw the opportunity of allowing them to participate, commit their algo, but also have a liquid assets that allow the governor to actually do something else if they need to. That's where we built Galgo and the liquid governance. That was the second feature. Then we were like, okay, let's keep improving it. We decided to offer also the swaps into the app. We knew there are many exchanges. There were many exchanges, there still are on Algorand. So we decided to simply integrate a DEX aggregator. So for us, it was more of giving a useful tool to the users, because, for example, let's say you want to deposit something on Fox Finance, but you don't have these assets, you have something else, then you have to open a DEX, swap, come back, it's frictionless. So the user may be bored of this process. So we decided to add also to integrate this DEX aggregator in order to facilitate the life of the audience. And with that, we also improved the lending protocol, which with the version 2 became much more advanced. And also we integrated the on-ramping part through per on-ramp. So, our mission is to build a DeFi hub that is similar in terms of services to a centralized exchange, but all with DeFi tools. So the idea is that if we are able to give to the users what they do already on a centralized exchange, but guaranteeing the reliability of decentralized trustless tools, then we are evolving this industry. Because as far now, everyone is simply building their own vertical protocol, and every user has to switch. Let's say I go on Uniswap, I swap, then I go on Aave and land. It's not the best experience for someone that maybe don't have time for that. So we want to simplify that. And our core idea in the end is to leverage our knowledge over the lending protocol to build advanced feature on top of that. So for example, we merged the liquid governance and the lending part by building the leveraged governance. So there are actually new contracts, non-new contracts, but it is a tool that is highly appreciated by the community because we simplify a process that was manually done by the users. So yes, we keep working toward there. We will have one new feature being released in September, which is very important. One is going to be next week. I can't announce it yet. My marketing will kill me. But our idea is to add as many tools as possible without the need to add new smart contracts. That means also new risks, and build this hub where a user can log in and connect the wallet and do anything that they need, so that we can remove this friction of DeFi being split into vertical protocols and you need to switch from one to each other.
Yeah, beautiful. And I really like the user experience. I mean, the fact that you have all these functionalities in one place, like both the governance, swaps, lending, borrowing, and everything is one place. So we will digest the lending part in a bit. But we like to talk that DeFi is more efficient than traditional finance, than centralized finance, like the Binances of the world. Do you have any like data to support this, like from your perspective? Like, how do we measure this? Why actually DeFi could be or is more efficient cost perspective or any other dimension than traditional finance or centralized finance?
Yeah, so there is, for me, main pillars where DeFi is improving traditional finance. First of all, the transparency. We have said that. I just very simply think of when you deposit your asset on a bank, then you accrue an yield. If you are lucky, let's say that's not anymore the case. But you don't really know what the bank is doing to accrue this yield. And we have seen in the past how this has been a point of failure. Also, many financial institutions backed by governments were going bankrupt. So in this part, the transparency is super important because any user can go and review where actually their money is flowing in, where their asset is flowing in, and check that everything has been done properly. Then we have the interoperability part. So as I said before, for example, Volks Finance leverage the existing smart contract of the lending part to build advanced feature. That's because the smart contracts are on chain. So those are open to be called by anybody, actually. So let's say everyone is open to use Volks Finance contracts to build on top of that. Let's say tomorrow a new developer come and wants to use this, wants to build a feature that includes Volks Finance lending, they can do. There is an SDK. Everyone can call the operation. So as many they already do. For example, I can tell about the liquidation part. There are many bots, I don't know the exact number, but more than 20 that looks always if there is open position of being liquidated on Volks Finance loan. So they just buy back the collateral and liquidate the loan. So that's beautiful, that's powerful. This is permissionless. Everyone with a bit of development skill can actually do that. And if you compare this to traditional finance, which is very isolated between institutions, traders, it's like all the whales, all the big gets to have their piece, but the small fish are not even being considered. Indeed, that's different in DeFi. Everyone is the same. A smart contract doesn't look at the size of your wallet, doesn't look at who you are. They are open for everyone. So that's the beauty. And also in terms of interoperability, if we think that system of traditional finance, they are rarely speaking to each other. Like if you try to connect to just two websites from two different institutions or to exchange data, it's so complex because those are not built under the same standard and the same way of talking to each other. Indeed, when you build contracts, you are already building it in this way. So making interoperable to application on chain, it's much easier and more efficient compared to standard software. For example, us together with Pact Finance, we recently launched the lending pool. So Pact is a DEX. What are the lending pools is pools that allow you to deposit your assets into Volks Finance lending. Plus, those assets are also flowing into the AMM pools of Pact. So when you are depositing these, you are earning both lending APR plus trade fees of the trading over the AMM. So that's fantastic. The users can actually take advantage of this, earning an higher APR. And that's because the two protocols are interoperable to each other, and that's super powerful in my opinion. Then one more point, obviously, it's the centralization we mentioned before. We are removing that. Then here we could discuss how not decentralized finance is has also some centralization points. Then it depends on the protocol. Some of them mitigate those risks. As Fox Finance, we try to reduce it as much as possible. We haven't deployed the DAO yet, which will be the full owner of the protocol. We have a plan for that. We want to do it at the best, so our users know that we always do the best for the protocol and not for ourselves. And the last point is also the efficiency. So software built on chain are, as I said before, they are going to do always what they've been planned for. So let's say there is a loan that is being under collateralized on Fox Finance. After one block, all this loan is already closed. Everyone, like the open community of Liquidator, are going to buy the collateral and sell it, because the system has been built to be to liquidate and close the position in the next block. And these avoid many risks. For example, if we compare it to centralized finance, when we had the crisis over the last, when it was 2008, when all the bankruptcy was due to overvaluing of mortgage collateral over real estates. So all the market crashed because banks wasn't able to liquidate collateral that was guaranteeing the mortgages. So that can't happen in DeFi. I mean, it can happen when the protocol isn't built in a proper way, but the reason why we are building this infrastructure is to avoid those problems. So the efficiency of using such software is that they guarantees instant execution. And for example, having a protocol on Algorand where the block is finalized every time in 3 seconds, it's fantastic. You know that when you are clicking, the funds are moving, they are going, and they are coming back anytime you need. So that's very important. If you want to compare, and it doesn't matter the amount you have, like if you're depositing millions or if you are depositing cents, that's the same. I'd rather think of going in a bank and withdrawing millions and withdrawing cents. That's not the same. You need to ask permission, and the works the employees have to ask than the director. You know, it's much less efficient than a software that is built on chain.
Yeah, for sure. And I love how you framed it, actually, fact that anyone can interact with the protocol because it's open. I didn't actually realize there are like 20 bots just hunting for the liquidated.
There are even more. I don't remember the exact number, but you know, they are once you launch it, they keep working. So many community developers, they do it. Those community are actually the one that are not many more active. You might not see them commenting on Twitter. They are the more underlying, but they are very needed because decentralized finance is strongly relying on the community. So that's important.
Yeah, that's right. And I think we often talk decentralization in terms of obviously the network infrastructure. We talk like decentralization from various angles, but the community is also part of the decentralization, not only the users, but also the builders who actually can tap into your solution and do anything like around it. So that's how the ecosystem grows. So I think that's great. We've actually touched many of this lending stuff like liquidation collateral. So maybe Ben, you can explain to our audience like how lending, what is lending in the DeFi protocols and how it works on Fox Finance. I think anyone, if you are not familiar, just launch Fox Finance after this show and use 1 or 10 algo, and you can without the risk of losing a lot of money.
Yeah, it's very simple. So first of all, we need to understand what's the utility of actually taking a loan over DeFi. So as for now, Fox Finance has all the other lending protocols. They works with crypto collateral. But then we must think that this is infrastructure that can scale towards, for example, tokenized assets in a future when this industry will be more ready for that. But let's focus on that now. How it works. Let's say I have $100 worth of Bitcoin, or let's say Algo, since we are in Algorand. So the reason why I have those Algo is probably because I believe that Algo is going to grow in price through time, right? So if I am a trader, I may take advantage of this collateral to use it to borrow USDC, sell the USDC, and buy more Algo. So what it means that I'm going on an edge over my Algo, and I'm betting that the price goes up. So if the price actually goes up, then I'm able to sell back my Algo, repay my loan, which is in USDC, and I get back my initial Algo plus the revenue that I made from this small trade. But in general, the loan are all over collateralized. So we said $100 worth of Algo, we can borrow, let's say, $80 of USDC. So there is a spread that is called loan to value that represents the safety range between the asset that is being borrowed and the actual collateral. Why there is a need of safety range? Because obviously someone else has lent the USDC, and we need the protocol needs to guarantee that the user funds are safe. So let's say that this $100 of collateral that is in Algo, if the Algo price goes down, they will decrease. So what happened is that when the collateral is going to be worth $90, those are example, but more or less it's like this, then we are in a risk that if it goes below 80, then the borrower is not incentivized anymore to repay his loan, because what he borrowed, it is worth less than what he collateralized. He would rather go and use the USDC to buy more Algo. So if that happens, that's a bad debt. So the lenders of USDC will not get back their USDC, which is not acceptable by the protocol. So again, let's get back to the point where it is $90. Let's say this is the under collateralization point. So the protocol opened this position for liquidation. So community bots look at this position and see, okay, there is a collateral worth of $90, which is in Algo, that I can buy by repaying the debt. So the debt is $80. So the liquidator is buying a collateral worth of $90 for $80. And he's making money. The liquidator, what usually does is sell the Algo on an AMM, gets back his $90, and then everybody's happy because the protocol has guaranteed there is no bad debt. The lender funds are repaid by the liquidator, the $80, and unfortunately the borrower has lost his collateral because he should have kept it more collateralized.
Yeah, I think it's a good explanation. And don't you have a feeling that this kind of approach works well, like in the like a positive market, in a bull market? But when it's a bear market, actually the value of collateral, like an average, rather.
It depends. There are people who take advantage of that by shorting assets. It depends on the strategy here. Yeah, of course. In terms of volume, also there are much more when the market is going up, because usually the standard is to use collateral such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, Algo, so altcoin also that you are betting on it. So when the bull market is going, everything is going up. So your collateral value is higher, so people are borrowing more, so more people are lending. So it's a network effect.
Yeah, for sure. So I understand that this kind of use case makes sense when I have an asset and I don't want to sell it. I want to use it as a collateral and kind of generate some yield. And obviously on the Fox Finance, you accept like a variety of collaterals, right? Can you mention like a core assets which Fox Finance accepts as a collateral?
Yeah, sure. We have obviously Bitcoin, Ethereum, Algo. You can use also G-Algo, which is the wrapped version of Algo from Fox Finance. We are going to add many other during the next month. It's planned. So the problem is that you can accept collateral asset only very valuable assets, because if the asset is in some way, by the way, also you can use USDC, for example, as a collateral. The problem is that if the asset is in a risk of manipulation in the price, then the protocol will occur in a bad debt. So I can take an example of what happened last week on Maker, sorry, not Maker, on Curve and Aave. So Curve was exploited, so the governance token went down right after, and there is the founder of Curve with a huge loan on Aave. So he locked it as a collateral like $100 million worth of Curve, and he borrowed against that. The problem is that such a big loan being liquidated on chain when the asset price is dropping quickly, it would have created a huge damage for DeFi, because there were not enough TVL into the DEX to liquidate such a big loan, and this would have been a disaster. And then thanks to some agreements, and also like the Curve team was able to get back some funds hacked, the situation got better. But I believe, for example, that Aave is doing a mistake on allowing such a big loan on an asset that is so volatile. So Fox Finance team, it's much more risk concerned, let's say. So we just list assets that are very safe as a collateral, because first of all, our mission is to protect the lender, so who is providing the liquidity for the loan. So that is for us the main priority. So when we add the new collateral assets, we always set parameters. We cap the amount that can be borrowed, the cap of collateral that you can use. So even if there is risks, we try to manage those with the treasury that we have. So in case anything bad could happen, we are able to repay the bad debt. But thanks God, so far, more than 1 year and a half on Mainnet, we never had a problem.
Yeah, and I'm happy that you are doing this kind of carefully, and I know you've audited the solution by several firms. Obviously, there are risks related to understanding the whole process, and probably we can help with educating people. But what you also mentioned, not using speculative assets as a collateral is a core, because I think in this case, only those writing those bots who are kind of tapping into these liquidated assets are the winners. And my impression is, I'm not sure if you agree, that what we are building in general in the DeFi space these days is kind of just a small first step, like, okay, we can use Algo or BTC as a collateral, but maybe in the future, our collateral will be tokenized real estate or luxury goods, which are not that volatile, and we can still kind of use it to issue a loan, right? So
I agree. No, that's what is our bet. So as I said before, we are building infrastructure that now it's for crypto, and volatile assets, but the infrastructure is perfectly fit, even better fit for real world tokenized assets, which should be more stable. And we are there, like the infrastructure is there, it's ready to plug those in. The problem is on the other side, because tokenizing real world assets is more tricky. You need to think about regulation, compliance. Most of the time, even if there are protocols such as those on chain, then they are usually on a permissioned market, not permissionless. So they're not being able to plug into protocols such as Fox Finance. But nevertheless, the industry is evolving. We are talking to partners. For example, we just proposed on the XGov portal. So if there is an XGov that wish to support us, a measure to build an NFT lending protocol. So this would allow that merging between the permissioned work and the permissionless work, because you need intermediaries in order those two to talk. So we want to do it. We bet on this. We believe that Algorand is perfect fit for such a type of industry, but nevertheless, like, we have limited resources, so we have a roadmap, and this would be more of an external part. For example, on Ethereum, there are third parties protocol composing with Aave in order to do that. On Algorand, the ecosystem is smaller, so we propose to do it ourselves, because it is needed for the ecosystem to have this. Because if we build such a tool, then others can build the tokenization project on top of Algorand and know that those assets can be used as a collateral thanks to Fox Finance NFT lending. Then obviously it works also for NFTs as arts, and those are already into the market. But our big bet is towards tokenization, 100%.
Okay, perfect. So if there is an XGov proposal on the table, and I'm sure there are some ex-governors listening to this
yes,
show,
please vote
on it if you want NFT lending in the Fox Finance. And currently, I've just looked on the DeFi Llama, the TVL for the DeFi space, like $40 billion. You as a Fox Finance, I think, cover like 80 million, which obviously for Algorand is a big thing, because Algorand is not yet that big ecosystem, but for the whole industry, crypto industry is not that big. And I think it counts. The bigger you are, the more users you attract. So maybe you can talk about like what are your plans? I'm sure there are plans you cannot talk about, but something what you can share to grow your user base, to grow your TVL, like moving forward.
So we have two plans. One is keep improving the product offering, and always, under the same mission, that is build this DeFi hub that allow the users to stay in one place and do everything they need. I think it is paying well. Also, like, we can think of very simple stats, like when we integrated Deflex as a DEX aggregator, we noticed that most of the swaps was being done on Fox Finance than the aggregator itself. So there is a reason for that. The user really likes the idea to stay into this one app that allow them to do multiple things. So we will keep improving and adding feature on top of what we already have. As I said, in the next month, one big one is coming. And then also, obviously, we believe that we should catch also other audience, not just in Algorand, and that this is beneficial for the ecosystem itself. So we have planned for let's say, scaling towards other chains, not leaving Algorand. That's a different thing. We are just scaling towards others. So yes, it's in plan. We are building it. Can't share much about it because, as always, we try to do it in a very innovative way. Anything we do, we don't just copy what the others are doing. We always want to do it with our touch. And so far, I believe that we have done it in a good way, so we will keep doing in the same way. When building something, always building it in an innovative way, critical towards what others have done in the past. And also, for example, we are already doing it with Xalgo. So we launched Xalgo, which is the interest bidding version of Gialgo. So you don't need to recommit every 3 months. And we specifically targeted the BNB chain because this is the largest chain with DeFi users, and those are mostly users that are looking for yield. And obviously, it's the simplest gateway to DeFi from Binance Exchange. So we were like, okay, let's try to catch all the algo that are on Binance and give them an opportunity to come into their most familiar chain. Nevertheless, in order to participate to Xalgo, they needed to have an Algorand wallet to mint it. So, yeah, it's cross beneficial for both of the chain. And the plan is also to add the other supported chain for Xalgo, and then of course also scaling the main product to the chain. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Those are good plans, and I think like in general, I mean, those when you talk DeFi 40 billions, it sounds big, but when you compare it to like other assets from traditional markets, it's not that big, right? So whoever will be the first,
yeah, I said
into this price,
we are building infrastructure for plugging in later into the bigger industry.
Yeah, and Algorand, I think, is pretty strong. I mean, I think it's chasing the tokenization of real estate and in general the real world assets market, I would say. So you might be on a good blockchain, but I mean, do you remember like how you actually came across Algorand and why Fox Finance decided for Algorand? Like, was like a deeper research project, or I mean, you can share the story.
For us, it was never where to build Fox Finance. It was more what to build on Algorand. As I said in the beginning, the software house was part of Algorand, so we just decided to start building DeFi, and we were like, okay, what's the best thing to build on Algorand right now? So we did our due diligence and we decided to go for a lending protocol.
Okay. Interesting. And I think you are in this lucky situation. It was a little
more business oriented part, not really like where we build Fox Finance. Obviously, Algorand does great technical feature, like when you're using an app as Fox Finance on Algorand, the experience is seamless. So it's pretty easy to understand that it's a good idea to build on top of it.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned being software house, having you didn't have this issue of insufficient number of developers. I think it's a great advantage for a project. Yeah. I mean, can you share like in your ecosystem how many developers do you have? Like algo developers or crypto developers?
Yeah, the software house is about 40 team member, and the Fox Finance is about 25. It's not, of course, business developer, marketing, but they keep having the relation to have developers can go back on the software house and doing other work. So it's much better than have a siloed team that is focused on a project, but the project has up and down. So having a mother company that can help you when needed, and it's much more cost efficient in terms of team expenses.
Okay. I think you were a bit breaking. I can hear you, but maybe it will remain a secret how many developers you have. I'm not sure if this was like well recorded, but anyway, I think
I switched to the other network. So if you want to repeat the question, I can go. I think now it's better connection.
I think it's right now it's okay. If we've lost this part, this will be a chance to catch up in Wrocław during the Algosphere. And can you talk maybe a bit of your experience building on Algorand? I mean, is it difficult? I mean, you've started focus on Algorand.
So I'm not a developer myself, but I can hear the feedback from my team. So the main difference between Algorand and Ethereum, for example, where most of the projects are and the developers are, is that on Ethereum you have plenty of tools, you have plenty of code that you can look at it, examples. On Algorand, you must be very smart to build on top of it because you don't have many tools. It's more complicated. So I had my CTO saying that if you build on Algorand, it's probably because you are skilled and smart, and you can avoid a certain issue that in Ethereum can be just found by looking on existing code or projects that have already done it. So on Algorand, you need to be more innovative. But then the technology, it's great. Like when you build an app, you always, when you click on the transaction, you don't have problems of queuing your request, the gas fees. No, you know that it's instantly being settled. Then that's it. So, you know, it has pro and cons. It's an ecosystem that is not advanced than developer does Ethereum, but in terms of technical part, it's then the outputs are better.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, and I hear this from many sources. So I hope that this infrastructure part for developers will improve over time with John Woods and AlgoKit and
it will. We are confident it will.
Okay, perfect. So maybe, I mean, if we have seen recently AlgoFi, the other like a big DeFi protocol on Algorand winding down. I mean, there are some reasons. I don't want to talk this probably too much, but what I mean, how do you see the future of the industry? I mean, what are the main threats for you, and what are the challenges, and how do you think you will be dealing with this? How do you want to mitigate this?
Yeah, of course. It is a challenging industry. It's not simple to keep building a protocol. You know, there are continuously risks like regulations. You might be hacked one day. You know, it's continuously a challenge here. Also, the competition is super high. Like in the DeFi space, everyone try to build fast and run to the new, let's say, trend very quickly. So you have to be. It's like a fight continuously. But the main challenge, I would say, is as mostly every other product, is build something that is really needed. And I believe that Fox Finance has done a great job because we kept building and improving our products during a bear market, while a lot of projects, not just in Algorand, in Ethereum, everywhere, they kept going down. And it is also important to think that we haven't launched the token yet. So we are still living out of what are our resources, and that's super challenging. If we are here and we keep building now, my opinion is that as soon as the bull market come again, my idea is to have the DeFi hub ready as much as possible with all the tools needed. And when the bull markets will come and the collateral, as we were saying before, will be worth more, new user will come. Having this one-stop shop ready will be the best strategy for me. At least. And yeah, that's the main challenge for me. Keep building safely, keep building something that is actually needed. So it's the product part. And then, of course, there are the legal challenges. You never know what tomorrow any government will wake up and say something new. It's It's challenging also, like all the parts of the centralized exchange going down, which affect all the markets. That's sad, something that is out of our control. Or for some reasons, those things, for example, are kind of good because teach unfortunately in a bad way, because they lose their funds, users that DeFi it's safer, and that's where the industry should go.
Yeah, but I really love what how you describe it. Build something that is really needed. I think that is crucial, and I hope that you keep on building in this.
Yes, we will.
Yeah, for sure. And you've already mentioned a lot of interesting plans for Fox Finance, including some announcements in September you cannot mention here, including like NFT lending, including the DAO plans. You also mentioned just before, like you don't have protocol, you don't have a token yet. So I have to ask.
We will. Of course we will. It's just that for us, there are priorities doing through the roadmap. Also, the token requires actual utility. We want, as everything, when we do something, we do it the best that we can. So believe me, the reason why we haven't launched the token is not because we don't want to give it to our users. We really want, and so we want to have ourselves. But it's because we want to do it the best. So I can't share much about this, but we are working for it, and we'll come. Just let's wait a little bit more.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Benedetto. I'm sure we'll have more opportunity to talk Fox Finance and DeFi on September the 2nd in Wrocław.
Yes.
And people listening
everybody come to Algosphere. We are waiting.
Yeah,
I am willing to talk to the Polish community.
Beautiful. So it was my pleasure, Ben, to have you here in the show. Looking forward for our meeting in Wrocław, and I hope we can repeat it sometime in the future to get an updates what's happening.
Of course, 100%. The pleasure was mine to be here, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in person.